lifting weights is just, let me see how to put this.
Hard.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Primal. My name is Dennis Timmerman.
Nick Ridenauer.
Travis Klinghagen.
And we are a podcast slash vlog slash I don't fucking know what YouTube channel. Obviously, we're in a gym right now, so we're going to talk a lot about health and fitness. We're going to give you guys technique videos. We're going to answer your questions. So if you have any questions for us that you would like to hear us talk about, leave a comment down below. And if you like what we're talking about, consider subscribing and all that good stuff. Today we're talking about bracing and why you should be doing it if you want to get strong as fuck. Right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is that important when you're doing this exercise thing?
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of describe it is, you always hear stories of, everybody hopping on the leg press machine and, yeah, I can leg press 1,000 pounds, but when the person goes and tries to squat 225, their back breaks. Mm-hmm. They can't lift it up, right? So what happened there? Are their legs not strong enough to lift the weight, 225, when somehow they could move 1,000 pounds?
Well, you're turning them at a different angle. Does that have anything to do with it? Is that what it is? No?
No.
Okay.
It's just more gravity onto the whole body, So now we gotta, instead of just pushing, now we gotta brace and support the whole structure, Before, the leg press machine was doing that for you.
It was supporting all the weight. Mm-hmm. Now you're supporting the weight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you gotta support and create force instead of just creating force. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that's where like squats and deadlifts, everything where you are the machine. That's where those are going to be more beneficial for you than just cranking out leg presses and stuff like that.
Totally. I think there's not a lot of movements that you're going to do that you don't need to brace yourself against.
Right.
Like anything you're doing, whether you're doing like a press, you're doing a deadlift, you're doing even a pull-up.
Maybe even more so with like pressing overhead. Overhead bracing strength is huge because you're now, instead of having a lever that's this long, now we got a lever that's twice as long because your hands are going over your head. So
and what do you see people do when they can't brace against the weight overhead? They lean back to compensate, right?
Different mechanics to try to fight it, but usually they put the body out of sync with what they should be doing. So
out of that alignment to where you're I always tell people, like, when you're doing like a push-up even or something like that, if you're pushing through your structure, so if you're stacking your joints in the right way, then you're already going to be a lot stronger, right? So it kind of goes, if you're not bracing yourself, you're going to fall out of alignment, all those joints are going to be out of place and shit falls apart.
Right. Yep. So yeah, bracing kind of leads to balance, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not braced, it's harder to keep balance, and that's usually balance is like the number one thing that I drive with any movement. If you're not balanced, you can't apply force. So how do we brace? What stuff like that. What are some techniques that you use to increase bracing strength? What are some movements that we can work on that also reinforce better bracing?
I start with planks.
Planks are
like before. People. If I notice people in their squats or whatnot, like not able to do that, I'll just prime it with a couple quick planks, and it usually will at least give them like an understanding of it,
Because if they're not doing a plank correctly and they're not bracing right, what happens,
Yeah.
Their bellies, touching the floor.
Yeah, their butts up in the air.
Or their butts up in the air,
If they can't brace against themselves, how are they going to brace against an external weight?
Mm-hmm. So that's just an easy, quick one I'll do occasionally just to prime somebody for it.
One that I think everybody needs to work on, or most people need to work on, is the thing that everybody does every single day, all day, every day, their whole lives. And that's just breathing.
Just breathe.
Getting control of that breath. Travis is going to give us a little explanation and demo of bracing in a squat here.
So we're here talking about bracing in the squat. We have Nick here who's going to demonstrate a squat for us. This first one is kind of the no-nos that we don't want to see when we are trying to brace and maximally hit the most weight we can. So Nick's going to go up to the bar. What we don't want to see again, and then he's going to show us what we're not trying to do, okay, is a grip that is wider than what's creating tension in our back, okay? So if the grip's too wide, we can't squeeze our upper back as much, okay? It's gonna be a little harder, okay? Again, reducing our bracing power. 2, his feet are going to collapse, the ankles are gonna collapse a little bit, creating the knees going in. Again, if we have power leaks coming from our feet up, and then from our shoulders down into our center, okay, we're losing power, okay? That's all part of the bracing. Thirdly, he's not going to be breathing properly, okay? So on his descent, he's going to be exhaling out, okay? That might be hard for him to do just because he is a pretty good squatter. So, but we're going to see what he does here. So let's take a look. Again, his hands are pretty wide. His elbows are going to be flaring way far back, okay? Again, we don't want to see that. His ankles are going to collapse, and he's going to be breathing out on his descent. The reason why we want to change a few things again is to increase the bracing strength, which is going to allow him to, 1, move the weight safer, so reduce the injury rate, and then 2, he's going to be able to move more weight, okay, which is always cooler. So he's going to bring his grip in just a little bit on the bar, okay, again creating a little more tension in his upper back. Again, that's going to help the bracing for his spine. Also, he's going to balance his ankles out. That's going to allow his knees, his joints to stack properly. So his knees are going to stack over his ankles more. Okay, and he's going to take that deep breath in before he squats. Okay, he's tight here, squatting up, and now you can bounce off the hole, right? Let's do it again. A lot stronger. And you can see, you can hear how he's forcefully creating air in. Okay, we got to create as much of a pressure system in our core as we can. So he's doing a great job.
Felt much better.
That's bracing in the squat.
That's not working.
Did you just try and like imitate my old squat or something?
No, that would have been like this right here.
Dude, that is so much harder.
It is. And I did try to rack it up on my neck. Yeah, that's fine. So what do you want?
Just do it.
Let it
Practice.
out?
Yeah. Practice one.
Fuck, sorry.
Breath control, I think, is probably the most important thing. It's not about how strong you are, it's about how well you can control your breathing.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think breathing is one of the top things that I'll like address when anyone's ever doing trying to move any sort of weight, you know, because that's going to definitely, it's that belt factor, right? Trying to create that tightness in the core, which again stems out, so everything, you know, kind of works outward, you know, when you got that tightness here. If you don't have it there, it's gonna be loose everywhere else. So making sure that they are tight with their breath, everything like that is gonna definitely help with move weight.
Yeah,
So.
I would say that's what the Derby girls were just asking me, like why people wear belts all the time. So I was trying to explain to them that the belt is basically like, once you learn how to use it, it's just an external thing to remind you that you can push against it. You know, too many people try to tighten that belt up where it's like actually crushing them and you know,
I think
pull
that's
it
going
in.
to stop their spine from moving in.
Right,
that
where you want to
position.
actually brace against it and push into it, so it helps people. So I put that belt on them just to show them how to brace without a belt while they were squatting.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I try to explain to them, you know, you can wear a belt, but you should work without it and learn how to brace that, do that same technique without the belt on too. But it's an easy way to put it on so then they can push into it, take that big breath in and brace, push against that belt versus, because they ask, you know, well, make it tighter, make it tighter. I'm like, no, it's not made to be a, what are those things called? Corset
Corset?
or something like that. Yeah, you want to have a little bit of room so you can actually push against it and brace against it. Is, you know, so it's kind of hard, you know, people see that and they think that break, you know, just put it on there really tight and they can go do whatever. You know, and that's still not bracing the core.
Right. So the thought of the belt taking all the load, right?
Yeah.
Where actually it's, you know, using a belt could actually be a little harder, you know, because you actually got to push against it harder.
Right.
Right. But there is a benefit for that because then you are increasing pressure and everything like that.
Right.
So it's you can still put you're still having the belt on there tight.
Right.
But you're not letting just everything go floppy once you put the belt on.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, yeah, you don't want it so loose that like you have to really expand your belly out a lot, because
Right.
then to expand it out too far, you're gonna have to relax everything again. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like finding that middle ground.
Yeah, there is that.
I think I like you brought up corset, and that's kind of like what I'm thinking about. And it's not just for me; it's not just the abs. Like I think about this concept everywhere: my wrist, my ankles, all this stuff. When I'm doing crawls, I'm thinking about bracing my wrist against things, and thinking about how I'm, connecting to the ground and all this. And it's all just bracing, pretty much.
Yep. And you can almost see that, like, so if you look at elite level weightlifters, which again, they're doing, huge weights with overhead bracing, right? So you're putting a bunch of weight overhead, and they've got where every energy leak is, they pretty much have some sort of supportive
Some kind of
system,
wrap or
right? So
something.
most of them, I would say, will use, some sort of wrist wrap, stuff like that. Again, just to give you some more proprioception of that feeling of a corset, or that tightness around there. Okay, knee sleeves, stuff like that. Again, just gives a little bit more that tightness feeling where you feel more locked in.
It's like feedback.
Right.
Yeah, so that stuff's not actually, it's probably supporting the joint a little bit, but it's more for external feedback to brace yourself.
Right.
Right. I think a lot of people have no idea about that don't, that like regular people that don't typically use that stuff, they think it's all, for performance rather than just like a reminder pretty much.
Right, right. Yeah, it's not a thing where it's like, okay, now I put on the wrist straps, I wasn't working out, or I was working out all week, wasn't using the wrist straps, and now it's Friday, and it's my big day, and I'm going to slap on these things, and I'm going to add 50 pounds to everything.
Right.
That's not really the goal of using those things. It's, again, there's more feedback related, and should be used that way, because also, you're just looking to increase injury rates and stuff like that. So
Unless you're wearing like a bench shirt or, something like that, where you're actually getting more out of it.
Yeah, it's totally different.
Totally different.
Yeah.
So, and like myself personally, I've never like wrapped my knees or anything. Do you think you get anything out of that as far as like a elastic effect out of the bottom of that squat? Those wraps wanted to straighten back out when you wrap it really tight?
depends on, I guess, the wraps. I mean, you got powerlifting wraps that are designed to do that. I mean, you actually have to almost force yourself down into position because they're so tight. And then you got, the simpler like knee sleeves that again, a weightlifter would use, which is pretty minimal. Morely what that'll do is just keep the heat into the joint, and again, create a little bit more feedback where
Okay.
you can feel things. There's not a whole lot of elastic response out of those.
Once you get enough weight on a bar, it's not going to matter. It's
No.
just some fabric pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it does keep the joints warm and happy during the process. So that's why a lot of people will use them.
Cool.
So.
All right, guys. So basically, summary of this whole episode is if you're not aware of your bracing and you're not really paying attention to any of that stuff and you're working out right now, look into it, because that's going to be the thing that's going to keep you going and get you to the next level. Just look into it. Just look into it. If you have any questions, make sure you hit us up and ask down below. Travis, where can they find you at?
My Instagram is Travis Klinghagen, and then you can check out also my Instagram page for Sioux Falls personal training. That'd be cool.
All one word?
All one word
Cool.
on Instagram.
And .com too?
Yeah, the website
Personal-
is
Sioux Falls
Sioux Falls dash personal training. So
Okay,
for the
okay.
website, remember the dash.
You can find that on the Instagram profile. Just click the link in the bio, right?
Right.
Right. All right.
DM me.
It all goes down in the DMs, is what they say.
That's right. Instagram Rider311. That's all I got.
Instagram at dennis.timmerman. You can check out Primal. Okay. Primal SFSD on Instagram. Primal Sioux Falls Gym on Facebook. PrimalSFSD.com. Go to the Instagram. Just do that. That's the best way to do it. If you guys have any questions, make sure you drop them down below and let us know what you want to hear about. If you have any questions on bracing especially, we'll address that stuff in a later episode if you guys have something you want to know about.
Part 2.
Or do.
Yeah. All right, thank you guys for watching, and make sure you give us a thumbs up if you got something out of this episode, and
Share.
share it with a friend. If you know somebody who keeps hurting themselves when they're working out, they might not know how to brace. Hook them up. All right. To the
Peace.
barbell.
Yep. Another kind of way like thinking about bracing is like thinking about a basketball versus let's say a ball of Play-Doh, right? You know, so you want to be more like a bouncy ball where you are able to create force and it's reactive, so the ball is going to bounce up, right? Where if you had to, make a ball out of Play-Doh, you throw it at the ground and it just smushes down
Splat.
and no reaction happens. So there's no bracing, everything falls apart.
Another example, now that we're on metaphors and stuff, you can't fire a cannon out of a canoe, right? So if that canoe isn't braced,
I'd like to see that though.
that'd be cool. It'd be interesting. But yeah, so that's
So wait, you can't?
Well, you
like,
could,
you
but it's
can,
not going to
but
be
you're
very
probably gonna end up underwater.
Yeah, I was just making sure, because I mean, they did it off ships, so I didn't know if that, like,
Off a ship, yes.
yeah.
more bracing.
Much more bracing.
Would it be more bracing, though? Because it's still on that, it'd just be a bigger thing, so the weight wouldn't be as...
More braced.
It's more braced.
Is that more braced, though? I don't know if that necessarily...
For this example, it is.
I just think that's a shitty analogy there. That's
I
all I'm
like it.
saying.
I like it. So
Just
the canoe's all wobbly, right? That's your abs when you're not stabilizing
Think about
on
that.
the overhead press.
No, I get
Overhead
that.
press is the cannon.
I get that, but that I'm just saying...
Sitting on a canoe, it's going to be all wobbly.
Right, yeah. I'm just saying the canoe compared to, like, that would be like me against, like, Big Seth, The
That's
ship's
true.
just a
That's
bigger...
true.
Just a bigger canoe. It's still not necessarily braced. It's just
No,
a
'cause
smaller
then the
cannon
weight that-
shooting off it. It's just like Seth
Yeah, so
putting up
that'd
a
be-
5-pounder versus me putting up a 50-pounder.
Yeah, you just got a little cannon.
Right, but that's what I'm
That's
saying. So it's not necessarily
Ouch.
braced. Oh, I better have a littler cannon. my cannon on Seth. Whew.
Seth, we hope you're watching, buddy.
Is that where we do that, right? That's where we get the clap?
I don't know where you get the clap. That sounds like a questionable
Where you get
decision you made there.
Get
Getting
the clap?
I'm not
Oh.
getting the clap. Are we talking about different things?
I think we are now.
We gotta get this
Hey,
together,
the
guys.
power of editing. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh gosh.